Hi, this episode of Boruto pretty much confirmed my suspicion and some of your suspicions that Sumire was in fact the individual behind the mask, and she's also the person behind the shadow possession attacks in Konoha. Now, personally, I hate arrogance. I hate it. It's my least favorite human trait. And so I'm not going to be like, oh, like somebody pick up the phone because I called it, or like, look at me, I'm a prediction genius. No, not going to do that. Partly because I've been wrong in the past about predictions too. Not just about Naruto, but about One Piece and other things. So, when I get it right, it's good, but it's not, I don't think it's like any type of an accomplishment. And not only that, but I don't think that this was a particularly hard case to crack. I think, because this show is aimed at a younger demographic, I think the clues were right there. All you needed to do was kind of like sort of pick up on them by rewatching some of the episodes. I will say though that I am proud about the fact that I uploaded the video when I did, Boruto Villain Explained. I uploaded that 2 weeks ago, and I'm also proud about the fact that I was able to gather the clues and present them to you, at least most of the clues, in one video. Because in this episode you can kind of tell that they're short on time. They don't want to take the time to kind of give Boruto all the clues or all the reasons as to why Sumire was the one behind the attacks. In fact, Mitsuki actually gets caught off because Boruto doesn't believe him. But Mitsuki does say, there are more clues, there are more reasons other than the ones that I just told you. The fact that, she's had contact with the victims prior to the attacks, there are more clues and reasons to why she's suspect. But he doesn't say them, again, because they're short on time. So I think I did a pretty good job at gathering what those clues were and just, putting it out there. And don't get it twisted, because you could technically go back by yourself and rewatch the series from Jump Street from episode 1 and pick up on those clues by yourself, all right? All I'm saying is, despite having an ear infection and despite having a blister on my big toe, I feel pretty okay right now. Overall, I thought the episode was pretty good. I thought the music in the beginning was actually pretty cool. It had like this very sinister vibe to it, to the point where I even began to think, oh, this is not like a normal standard episode of Boruto. So you have Sai going into this warehouse, or I believe it was Sumire's house at one point, going through all this crap, just gathering clues, and we find out that Sumire's father was called Tanuki. Isn't Tanuki like the word that you would use for a raccoon dog in Japanese? Anyway, fan favorite 6 Hokage Kakashi Sensei is back. He's just there in Naruto's Hokage's office. And we find out something very interesting about a policy that was adopted in Konoha after the 4th Shinobi War. And that's the fact that I think it was Tsunade, the 5th, and Kakashi, the 6th Hokage, who decided that they weren't going to out people's identities after the war, because if they did, like for example, the people who belonged to the Foundation, to Root, if those identities became public, then people would just be very, very suspicious about them and would probably turn to hate them. I guess they just wanted to prevent an incident similar to what happened with the Uchiha clan from happening again, except this time it would be from the members of the Foundation. After Danzo died, they were trying to integrate them into society. So that was good in the sense that, for example, Sai was not going to be investigated or hated or discriminated against because he was at one point part of that unit. But it was also a problem, as we see in this episode, because that means that people weren't policing these guys that were a part of the Foundation. So this allowed Sumire's dad to go unnoticed by the Konoha authorities and successfully brainwash this kid into seeking revenge for him somewhere down the line, somewhere in the future, which makes no sense because, as Sai mentions in this episode, Danzo was an extremist, but his main goal was to protect Konoha, to keep it safe. He was still an extremist though, so he was he had a very twisted kind of view of how to keep order and how to keep the village safe, but he still wanted the security of the village. Despite the fact that he was twisted, I'm pretty sure that Danzo would have never allowed or stood for a Nue level type of explosion actually detonating within Konoha's walls. I don't think that's something that he would have wanted. And so once again, a trope, a theme in anime and also in Naruto is that the goal of the master gets misinterpreted and twisted into something that's worse. I'm not gonna lie, Sumire is kind of a joke villain. At least, given what we saw in this episode, she can't hold her own. She gets dumped on twice. One by Sai, all right, and the second time by Mitsuki. She gets saved in both occasions. The first one by the Nue, coming out of her back tattoo, and then the second time by Boruto being, no, don't hurt her, Mitsuki! Because apparently Mitsuki is under direct orders from who I assume at this point is Orochimaru to just end up killing Sumire, which didn't start off that way. I think we're heavily led to believe in this episode that at first Orochimaru wanted to get his hands on Sumire to study her, to have Mitsuki bring her back alive so that he could study her. And that's just straight up classic Orochimaru, right? But then it got out of hand, and it's like, no, you gotta stop this. So it's kind of cool in a way that he actually cares about Konoha, even though he doesn't live there anymore, that he just doesn't want an explosion to take place of that magnitude. But it's also kind of messed up that he knew all this time that Sumire was in charge of the attacks, and he just kind of like let it slide. He's like, yeah, I know who's behind the attacks, but I want to observe her just because of research. Again, classic Orochimaru. I also thought it was kind of cool how Boruto was able to free himself from Mitsuki's clone. He uses a shadow clone, and then he has that shadow clone just use Gentle Fist on his face, which is funny. And at the same time, I think it goes like right along with something that I think Naruto would do in that situation. It's like, no, this is desperate, so just hit me in the face, just do it. There's actually 2 moments in this episode that got me really hyped up concerning the old gen doing some cool stuff, or at least about to do some cool stuff. The first one was when Kakashi used that purple lightning technique on the Nue. I thought that was great. For those of you who don't know, that new lightning technique is something that he developed after the war because he lost the Sharingan. If you remember Kakashi, the reason why he was able to use Raikiri in the first place was because of Obito Sharingan, because of it would allow him to see better and to, it would move at the speed of the Raikiri, so it wouldn't be that dangerous to use. Because when he developed it at first, Minato told him, before Kakashi got the Sharingan, Minato told him, the problem with the technique is that you can't pinpoint how to land your attacks. You can't change direction because you can't see. It goes way too fast.
So he lost that ability, but now he can use Purple Lightning instead. And the difference between the Raikiri and the Purple Lightning is that the Purple Lightning is sort of like a long range attack. Like it would require the user to aim at whatever it is they want to cut at a distance. They can't get too close. It doesn't allow like for a lot of direct contact like the Raikiri did, how you can just go ham and just get close and then do the stab thing. This Purple Lightning requires you to have some distance between you and whatever it is you want to cut. Anyhow, the second scene that got me hyped up was this moment right here when Naruto's going Bijuu mode. I was like, oh yeah, he's about to kick some ass. But no, he gets stopped, and they made it so obvious that they were just trying to nerf. This is what I've said before when I was reviewing Gaiden. It's like, in order to have the new gen shine, they have to nerf or they have to handicap the old gen so that they don't overshadow the new gen. And this is a great example of this. It's like, no, Naruto, you can't do this because if he gets a hold of your chakra, if he absorbs you, that's going to be a problem. This thing is going to detonate. I need you to sort of like help with the dome, with the wall here. So they built it up so that Boruto could take the spotlight. And look, I'm just going to say this. If this were Naruto Shippuden or Naruto, even with those restrictions about like the Nue absorbing chakra, Naruto would have found a way around it. I'm pretty sure that Kakashi and the rest of them would have found a way to deal with the issue. But because it's Boruto's story, it's like, yeah, you gotta step aside. Like I even remember like Naruto has the ability to sense, because of the Kyuubi chakra, he has the ability to sense evil intentions. So if he really wanted to, he could have found Sumire and then restrained her to stop this. But no, it's Boruto's story, so it's because of his eye. His eye sort of leads him to where Sumire is because he can see the dark chakra, and that leads to a pretty cool but short kunai clash between Mitsuki and Sumire. And I love this scene where he just kind of like stops them. He's just in the middle because he doesn't want Mitsuki to kill Sumire. I will say, though, that one of the themes that you see in this episode is that Mitsuki says, like, I want to be able to do what my parent couldn't. Boruto wants to be different from Naruto. That's what he keeps saying. And then in this episode, Sumire actually says the same thing, but from a different ideological standpoint, because he actually wants to get the revenge that her father couldn't get. So it's all about this new gen trying to do what their parents can't. So the stuff the parents couldn't do, that's what the kids want to do now, okay? However, all right, I really want you to think hard about this, because Boruto has said, I want to do what my dad couldn't. Yet in this episode, it is revealed that what he wants is to save and protect the village, while at the same time not taking Sumire's life. Okay? So how is that different? How is that different than the stuff that Naruto was doing in Naruto Shippuden? It's not. It's the same thing. It's the same ideology. I want to protect those I care about, but I don't want to harm this other person who's made like, really really bad decisions and has like caused a lot of harm. I want to protect Konoha, but I don't want to kill Sasuke. I wanna protect Konoha, but then later on I'm gonna talk to Pain and have talk no jutsu with him, and then I'm also gonna talk to Obito. I don't understand this. Like the writers say, they make Boruto say that he wants to be different from Naruto, and yet they have him do the exact same thing that his father would do in this situation back in the day. Anyway, Boruto stops them, and I don't know if it's because he has contact with Mitsuki or Sumire or both at the same time, but it's actually revealed that apparently his eye technique is lightning based. You see this electrical current flow throughout the screen, and then it opens up a dimension, and that's where the Nue lives, I guess. That's his original dimension. It's kind of like a Toby-like dimension. It's really weird. Even the way that it opens up, it's like the same kind of spiral thing that we got from Toby. Sumire jumps in there, Boruto follows, and we saw in the preview that Mitsuki will be there joining them as well. And I'm just very curious to see what this whole thing is, because it's like that came out of nowhere. So I'm guessing we're going to get more information about Boruto's eye next week.
Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. That's it for me. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I do Boruto reviews every Wednesday. Comment down below. I'm really, really curious to find out what your thoughts are in terms of how the story is developing, how it's evolving. Like, what do you think is going to happen after this? Where do you see the story headed? And what do you think about Boruto as a character right now? And not just him, but the characters that are surrounding him right now. Sumire, mainly Sumire and Mitsuki at this point. I mean, because this episode pretty much made it seem as if Boruto's lightning style based eye technique had the power to trigger the opening of a dimension. So what's up with that? Please let me know. Thank you so much. Catch you guys later. Bye.